Hello, welcome, or welcome back to Heretical Tarot. My name is Liz. I will be guiding you on this journey today. I haven't even actually chosen a deck. I just, the energy was available for me to make this little intro. I'm like, am I going to be an intro girly? Yeah, for the time being. At least for this series of readings, there is going to be an intro. I want to set intentions at the beginning, or at least share with you my intention that I always have for every single reading that I do, whether it's on YouTube or one-on-one personal readings. I am not psychic. I am not claiming to be. I do know these cards. And my intention is for the message to come through me, not from me. For your highest good, for my highest good. We're just two friends reading tarot together. So anyway, I do also try to share the meaning of each card because you have your own intuition, and obviously you're the person that's involved in your own life, right? So I share the meaning of each card so that you can discern, you can listen to your own guidance around each card for sorry, I closed my eyes and all of a sudden I got lost. I am naturally a blonde. I immediately heard blonde moment. Anyway, I closed my eyes and I got lost. Bro. Anyway, okay. So yeah, you have your own intuition. You're the one, right, that's involved in your own life. I want you to know the meanings of each card so that you can also receive your own message, right? Listen to yourself. The whole reason I even give tarot readings is for you to return to yourself, for you to listen to yourself, which is why I'm probably not telling you anything you don't know already, right? I'm more than likely confirming or affirming things for you. No doubt your intuition is see, told you. But also, I do think that is important. I think that's an important part because once you know for sure, right? Once you have that confirmation, it's that you can free up the energy for what's next. You have confirmation. Now what? Right? Now what? So I haven't even really chosen a deck yet. Did I say that? This is a deck that I was thinking of in my mind's eye. Let's see if it even wants to do the reading or not. Do you want to do the tarot readings? Yeah, okay. That was the Ace of Cups. I do that for every reading too. Consent over here. Is there anything else that I wanted to say? If you haven't subscribed to the channel, I would absolutely love it if you did, because honestly, community is becoming a big thing for me in what's next for me. So let's get on to the reading. Great. So this is a reading for Aries. Wherever Aries is in your chart, how are you doing? Neptune is at 0 degrees Aries, so, just kind of dipping a toe in. How are you feeling? We have the Judgment card and the Queen of Pentacles. Okay. Interesting. Seems like decisions have been made already. I love it. How many cards is this? 3? Okay, we'll take it. 2 of Swords at the bottom of the deck. King of Swords, 6 of Swords, 3 of Swords. Look at all this Swords energy now. WTF? Okay, I'm going to move these down just for the time being because I know there's a kind of a glare if I move them higher. 2 of Swords, the Lovers, 10 of Pentacles. Okay, all right. Cool it. I also feel like these been sitting here for literally like a minute and a half, kind of going back and forth about that. And I was going to stop the video and like see how I laid those out. I mean, we'll talk about it both ways, but it just wasn't feeling right the other way. So anyway, like I said, we'll talk about it both ways just to cover all of our bases. So we start with a judgment card, which is Pluto, which is Scorpio. Is there anything going on there right now? No. Pluto is in Aquarius. I'm pretty sure Mars is actually opposing Pluto right now, or pretty close to, like, directly opposing it. And Mars is like your ruler. Anyway, judgment is about transformation. You know, it's like, it's the card that comes before the World card. So it's that point of the Fool's journey, because we start with the Fool, right, which is 0, and then we work our way through the major arcana all the way to the World card, right? And the world, so the Fool is the moment of making that decision to go for something. The World is the culmination, the completion of the journey. It's like literally saying you got everything that you needed to get out of it, and you know, we're closing the book on it so that we can start something else. Now, the judgment card is that moment where it's like, you know, you're looking back. You are taking stock of everything that, whatever the situation is for you. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be your whole life. It can be. It could just be a specific journey that you have been on for the last however long you've been on it. It could have to do with your sense of worth. It could have to do with your stability, like your financial stability. It could have to do with your health. Those are all things pentacles. But you are taking stock of all of the experiences, everything that you've gained, everything that you have lost. Honestly, it's like that point in a book of like character development. Like all of a sudden, right? Like this person has this big breakthrough, and it's like deciding, do I want to still be this version of myself, or have I recognized how much I have grown, how much I have already changed? And what is that going to do for me going forward? How is that going to affect the decisions that I make going forward? So again, right? I mean, transformation, kind of like the butterfly thing, coming out of the chrysalis, like truly, right? Because that would be like the whole, like the Fool's journey is that they started off as one thing. They started off as a caterpillar. And then at one point, they built this chrysalis for themselves, turned themselves to goo, and then literally emerged as something completely different. Also, I mean, that's very Plutonic, right? Like that's very Pluto as a planet, the life or the birth, life, death cycle. It's, you know, and that's why it's, you know, a generational planet, right? Like it takes 20 years to go through a sign. That's big changes. And big changes like that do take time. I mean, you know, even just look at your own life, granted, you know, depending on how old you are, over the last 20 years to where you are now. And also even being at the beginning stages of another transformation, because now Pluto is in a completely different sign. And maybe it does have to do with relationships. I'm only saying that because we have a man, a woman, and a child here. Like maybe it does have to do with even too, like what you wanted, the dream that you had, you know, maybe because like a lot of us, you know, we had this kind of fairy tale expectation of like how life was going to go, the picket fence, the perfect relationship, the, you know, whatever. And maybe that has changed in some capacity, or evolved in some capacity. It's transformed in some capacity. And it's almost kind of like maybe you are open to something different. The Queen of Pentacles. I already mentioned the Pentacles, but Queens are very individual for me. Like the Queen is when we embody the energy of the suit ourselves. We recognize the energy within ourselves. We learn to work with the energy within ourselves. We give that energy to ourselves, right? Before we have to do that before we can share it or be an authority or a leader, a mentor, whatever, you know, for other people, which would be the King of Pentacles. Right? So again, right? It's like really learning how to nurture or like take care of yourself. Self-love, self-care, making money. How do you want to do that? Right? Like what feels right for you? What is your level of success in that way? Also, like I was saying, worth. What does your sense of worth look like now compared to, I mean, even a year ago, let alone 20 years ago? It almost kind of feels like paying yourself first, whether that's literally, you know, I mean, it could be, of course, like just kind of developing a savings, right? Like making sure that you put a little money aside first, you know, before you pay other bills. Of course, if that is, you know, it could be $5, it could be 10, you know, it could be 20 a month, right? But it's something though. I also love how she is looking towards the future, very future focused, and too, you know, like really embodying your own sense of worth. Like you will not put up with BS. Like you won't accept less than what you're worth, or what you feel is like adequate compensation for your time, for your skill, for whatever, right? And then we have the Three of Swords, the Six of Swords, the King of Swords, the Two of Swords at the bottom. Like look at all this swords energy here. Very interesting. The Three of Swords is rejection, disappointment, heartbreak. I mean, you know, there's these three swords sticking out of, or sticking into, I should say, maybe this heart here, right? But swords have to do with our mindset, you know, our perception of our own realities. It's truth, honesty, but like divine truth. It's also intellect. It's how you're communicating those things, beliefs. I also see swords as being the suit of ego, because that's generally where we tend to hear our ego is in our minds. And our ego is created by the stories that we attach to these very experiences, which then becomes our belief system. It becomes our personality. Oh, hang on. I was playing around with this thing and I just dropped it. Okay. Everything is right in the world again. But yeah, right? So the stories that we attach to these experiences, it does become our belief system. It becomes our personality. It becomes our temperament, right? Like the reasons why we do and don't do things. It's literally the reasons why we we experience our reality the way that we do. That's also how you could grow up in the same house with somebody and their perception of reality would be completely different than yours, or their experience could be completely different than yours, right? Their stories are different that they attached to, like Brene Brown calls them gremlins. Also, too, like in this specific Three of Swords, throughout these readings, every time that it has come up, my eye keeps getting drawn to the blood that's dripping off of this one sword. And to me, like, it keeps coming through as like a bleeding heart. And to me, like when I think about that, or like when I'm like, what does that mean? It's almost like martyrdom. It's, almost like sacrificing yourself, but it can also be that there is something that is still like a wound that hasn't healed yet. There's this dark cloud over here. And what's interesting is with the Six of Swords, the Six of Swords talks about almost like kind of resetting your mindset, or being more like future focused, like instead of being so attached to your story. And so, almost kind of like stuck in the cycle of whatever that belief is. It is allowing yourself to move beyond it, because the whole thing with the Six of Swords is that they are moving from choppy waters to more peaceful, calm waters. And it's interesting because water has to do with our emotions, our intuition, love. So it's almost too like how our brain, or our mindset, our belief system, our ego, right? Like how much control that has over our emotional body, the whole the body keeps the score thing. And I mean, this person is being guided out of those choppy waters. So, there you could be seeking out like assistance in the form of, therapy, or some sort of, support that way to help you navigate, literally navigate the waters. It could be a conversation with anybody that, it just like something clicks in your brain, right? And you're like, I'm ready to leave something behind. I mean, you could very well be moving, because it's kind of like one of those things of like, have you heard that saying, you can't heal in the same place that hurt you? Or is that how it goes? Like you can't heal. Yeah. You can't heal in the same place that hurt you. The King of Swords, Kings, the highest expression of the suit, right? So this is like emotional clarity or mental clarity. That's interesting. Okay. Emotional too. Because also, I mean, like really, your emotional response and your emotional, I want to say body, I mean, it does change when your mind does. So yeah, I mean, maybe you are going to just notice that there's going to be a change in even your emotional like reaction to things. But again, right? Swords, the King, mental clarity, also really relying on what it is that you know to be true, intellect, the things that you have learned along the way. I mean, even just really recognizing how fucking smart you are. It's interesting to, like, this is the first time, and I can't even tell you how many times I've seen this King of Swords, that I'm recognizing that this foliage around him, it's an olive branch. Like there's these little olives on it. And, when I think of olive branch, it's like a truce, right? When somebody says like, I'm reaching out an olive branch or whatever, right? Like it is a truce, or like, coming to an agreement. It's also interesting that he's holding wheat with him with the sword. Because, and I looked this up the other day, I think it was a Leo reading that I did literally on Easter. And like, first of all, most of the references that came up for wheat were biblical. But it talks about abundance, resurrection, satiate. You know, when you're satiated after eating. I'm about to put this thing down because I keep dropping it. Let me just... So, you know, like to me, it has this feeling of taking care of yourself, which is very Queen of Pentacles. The Queen of Pentacles would be on the money side, on the health side. The King of Swords would be more on the mental side, but also too, like even taking calculated risks, trusting that, you know. And if we were to switch these around, it's interesting because this way, the King of Swords has their back turned towards the Six of Swords. So this to me feels almost kind of arrogant. Also, they are looking towards the past. The left side of the card is the past. The right side of the card is the future. So it's almost like either, again, being stuck in your story, or it's like preventing growth, because it's like relying too heavily on what you already know to be true, or the things that have worked for you in the past because you know how they're going to go, right? But on the other side of it, you know, it's like preventing this movement forward because maybe you don't want to be disappointed. You know, like maybe that is part of the story, that you don't believe in the thing, you don't believe it's possible, that, you know, you don't want to experience the disappointment. Whereas again, like this way, it's almost like they're looking at where they've come from and how they've literally grown. And again, resurrection on this side makes sense. On this side, there is no resurrection to me because their back is turned. They're not even looking. The Two of Swords is about indecision. Also, maybe not even wanting to make a decision. It could be blind trust too, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It can be. It can be. But, you know, when you take the sense of sight away, then you really do have to rely on your other senses, right? You have to rely on your hearing. You have to rely on taste, on smell. You have to even rely on your intuition. That's when it's not a bad thing. The Lover's card is Gemini, making connections, making the right connections. Yin and yang too, because it's the masculine and the feminine energies. Also, it's kind of hilarious because the Lover's card also talks about decisions and choices, and literally it's right behind the Two of Swords. It could even just be weighing the masculine and feminine of it, right? Like, again, you know, not necessarily genders, but the masculine is, you know, initiating, going for it, right? Like kind of being in charge, taking charge. The feminine is more intuition, flow, nurturing, literally birthing something, or having the capacity to, having the ability to. The Ten of Pentacles is generational wealth, legacy, community, enough for everybody, success, financial success. The Three of Cups is also about community. It's networking, it's friendships. It's also even too developing an audience here, because these ones, I mean, they look like they are locked in, which could also be about connections. The Ten of Cups, dude. Minor Arcana card to the Sun card. It is also about community and family and like truly getting exactly what it is that you want. Everybody feels purposeful. Everybody feels fulfilled. I love this. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for allowing me to read your cards. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.